I'm here with Carolyn Kingsbury. Did I say that correct?
Caroline. Whatever
Caroline.
is fine.
I listened to your last album. I thought it was great.
Thanks.
There's a couple of songs that really stuck out to me. Breaking Apart, I really like the feeling of that song. Everything about I really like that song. I don't know if you ever heard of Empire of the Sun.
Yes.
It kind of like has that similar energy, at least to me. I don't know if that's
hmm
okay to say.
Oh, absolutely. That's
Okay,
a huge
great. Okay, great.
compliment. Oh my
Okay, yeah,
God.
to me too.
Thank
But
you. Yeah, that's a
you
huge
never know.
compliment.
So yeah, I definitely like that. I thought that 16 was great as well. The hook for that one was really great.
Thanks.
Just the build of that song is really great too. I had a quick question.
Thank
Is
you.
there
Yeah.
any glam rock David Bowie influence in there?
Well, yes. Yes, absolutely. The energy of David Bowie. I mean, the fact, I think also any queer artist is going to say David Bowie, I think, because he kind of like pioneered a space for queer artists, and also his whole look and his whole energy
Definitely.
and everything. It was
Definitely.
just, yeah, and it was just like innately queer. So
Yeah.
absolutely. And but I didn't really grow up listening to David Bowie or a lot of music in general, but now, like present day, yes,
Was
absolutely.
that because of how you were raised?
Yeah, I mean, I listened. I was raised in a Christian household, and
Same
my,
here.
yeah, in the South. So, and I was also during the whole we listened to like Christian radio, and I was really only, yeah, and I was only really allowed to listen to that until I was like a certain age, right? And my
Yep.
mom once caught me like listening to like the rap station in my room on the radio, or it wasn't my mom, it was my dad actually who caught me, and it was like a huge deal.
Yeah, yeah. Those
Yeah.
are always a huge deal.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
wasn't Christian rap.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think the first thing my mom called me listening to was like it was Iggy Pop or something like that. And she
But
was
that's
livid.
cool. I bet.
But
Okay.
it's like, yeah, like I don't know. But all that to say, definitely can relate to that kind of upbringing at the very
Yeah, and
least.
it didn't last forever. It was until I was basically a teenager. But
Yeah.
and my mom now, and anytime I bring it up, she's like, "No, that didn't happen." And I'm like, "I swear to God, it did. It did."
Oh, just like parents to gaslight you.
Yes, they love that. They love that.
So, speaking of like influences, who are some of your biggest influences right now?
Oh,
It is a very hard question because
yeah,
there's
it's a
probably
hard
so
question.
many.
Yeah, but okay. The Killers are number one, and that was my brother who recently passed away. He
Mm.
showed me The Killers when I guess I was like in middle school, and he was 9.5 years older than me, so he was significantly older. So he was like an adult when this music was coming out, and so
Mm-hmm.
he showed me The Killers, and The Killers have stuck with me since then. I think that's like really one of the main bands, or artists that has stuck with me from a young age. I listened
Yeah.
to a lot of like the stuff that was, popular at the time when I was growing up, but the Killers were like the first time I was like stopped in my tracks. I was like, wow. And then, I kind of worked backwards from there. I didn't really I didn't really care or like the 80s at all when I was growing up because I didn't know. I was just a kid. But then, especially as I got into my 20s and I worked backwards from the Killers. I was like, okay, like, why do they sound like this? And then, you find Bruce Springsteen, you find The Cure, you find New Wave, you find that late 70s, 80s sound when synthesizers were coming into play, and there is this overwhelming sense of like nostalgia because so many things were changing in that period of time too, which also is I just so relate to. Just the period of time when that music was coming out was not a super peaceful time in the world and in America. So it like influenced the feeling and it's kind of like the Smiths, like kind of ambivalence but also nostalgia but also just like fuck it mentality I really related to. So I feel like the Killers were like my gateway drug to the 80s, and then Cyndi Lauper, The Cure, they just I can't even explain it. They're amazing. And Kate Bush and Cocteau Twins.
I'm so glad you said Kate Bush.
Well, everybody asks me that, which is so funny because it's like, it's just such a huge compliment, that
okay, great. I'm so glad
I would be compared to Kate Bush. That's amazing.
As soon as I heard, I think it's called Kissing Someone Else. In the video, I was just like, oh my God, this is so good. This really just gives me the feels of like Kate Bush. And I was like, but
I know
you're also like doing it so well that it's like,
thank you.
That you're still within your own, within your own lane, but the influence is there. And I feel like that's really important as an artist, just so, because everybody's grabbing from anywhere. It doesn't really matter.
Right. As artists,
we're all pulling. We're all pulling from somewhere.
Yeah.
We're all pulling from somewhere, and being able to do it as well as you do and still make it your own thing is great.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I really appreciate you saying that because most of the time I feel like I'm maybe not doing it so well. No. I don't know. I have a lot of self-doubt. Every person, and especially every artist.
Every artist has extreme self-deprecation.
Oh my God, extent. I know. And then when I listen to like my favorite artist being like, I don't like this song, and I'm like, shut the fuck up. It's so good. So we just can't. Sometimes we can't see the truth or like appreciate it, but. When I first wrote that song, I knew it was special, and I wrote it all by myself, and I was, really starting to get into production, and I had found a sample, which is featured throughout the song, and I just couldn't get it out of my head, and I just was like, it's like that do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and the song just like happened, and but that's not how it is every time. Not
definitely. Wait, so do you produce all of your own music?
Not all of it, but my writing process is also I'm producing as I'm writing. But okay, so to answer your question, yes, I produce everything that I write, that I write and that I put out, but I don't do it all alone. So, but my writing process all kind of stems from production and writing kind of at the same time. And then I usually take a song to someone else who's a way better technical engineer than I am, and then we kind of like tie it up and it's good. But yes, producing, I have a hard time owning it sometimes because I'm not on the technical side, like the best engineer.
Yeah.
But I really have improved in the way that I create my music, and my recording setup is better than I think than I expected. So I'm happy. I'm happy
I
with it.
saw I saw
Yeah.
you work with Matt Bishop. How was that?
Great. He's amazing. Yeah, we worked on more than a few songs together. But he's just everything that I'm not. he's
Mm,
he's he's incredible. And he's worked on some amazing records with this really famous producer called Jackknife.
okay.
He worked on a Killers record. He worked on a Taylor Swift song. He worked on, I don't even know what else he worked on, but
I actually saw he worked on a song for this band called Bad Sons. And it
yeah.
was so funny because friends of mine are on tour with Bad Sons right now. So
Oh,
I
who?
saw them like the other night and I was just like, whoa, wait, somebody that I'm going to be having a chat with actually has work with, it's just
Wait,
small
who
world
who are
is
your
all.
friends?
Little Image, they're a small band.
Oh,
They're
cool.
supporting Bad Sons right now.
Oh, great.
But
Awesome.
yeah, I
Oh,
was
no, I
just
haven't
like,
heard them.
wow, small world.
Yeah. Well, Matt engineered for all of those people, but he's kind of just starting to do like production on his own.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he's amazing. Not saying he just started, but just that,
Yeah.
on those albums, he wasn't as creatively involved, but in the creative process working with him, he's incredible. And I've been so lucky to work with him. He's great. And he's a great guy too.
What's the best advice you've been given working in the industry? If you've had any advice that has like really stuck with you through like, the
Yeah.
trials of.
It was, I don't know where I heard this advice. I think it was from maybe a comedian. And it was like the people who succeed are the last ones standing. And you just
Hmm.
have to stand longer than everybody else, and you'll make it.
Just keep trudging through.
It's so, and I think realizing that has helped me so much, just like chill the out and
Yeah,
not be so stressed about
definitely.
certain outcomes of things. And especially in the music industry today, everything is sort of like now, and it would be great to have everything now, but would you be ready for it? Would you, it's
Exactly.
like, but at the same time, if I were given an insanely incredible opportunity, I'd be like, yeah, let's go. This is great. But that is the best advice I've heard. And anytime I talk to any artist who's like, what's your experience? What have you experienced? It's just, you have to be, and I also, this is something that I said to my friend Nick, who's a musician, and I said, by the time I've made it, I'll be 70, and like, I'll be old as I'm just gonna keep going and try to push through the self-doubt, and just, I don't know, not put like a limit on, like a timeline on it.
Definitely, definitely. I feel like one of the biggest things that artists struggle with is being able to just let go and let things be what it is. And things that you can't control are like so frustrating because it's just like certain things that you do as an artist is just you have no control over how people are going to perceive whatever it is you put out. You
No,
can't
you
control. There's
can't.
so much you can't control about it, and it's so
Yeah, you have
frustrating.
to let go of control.
Yep. You just have to let go
Absolutely.
and let it be what it is. Put it out there and, just hope for the best. And like you said,
Yeah.
just trudge through it all.
Yeah, I think that, with TikTok and with Instagram and everything and YouTube, it's like we're fed these narratives of like virality that are not 100% true.
Yeah.
And Lizzo went viral, but Lizzo was homeless. Lizzo has been doing it for a while. And
Yeah.
even Olivia Rodrigo, who went viral this last year, she's been doing it since she was 16. And I mean, yeah, she's only like
Whoa.
18
I
or
didn't even
19,
know
but,
that.
or maybe she's been doing it since she was like 13. She's been, as an actor, or, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
like she just like came out of, nowhere. And I think
Yeah.
that is important, is to like keep perspective on like music. Having a career in music is like any other career. You don't just wake up one day and you're a lawyer and you're a doctor. It's it takes years and of cultivating experience, and And that's okay. It's not bad.
Do you know? Okay, that being said, what's the worst advice you've ever been given?
I don't know. Let's see.
Any stories of someone telling you to do something and it ended up being the complete opposite of what they had you expect?
It's funny. People don't really give me advice.
Well, you're lucky.
Well, maybe they try to, but then I just don't care. I'm
You
just
don't
like,
care?
I don't care. Unless it's someone, I deeply respect and admire.
Exactly.
If someone were telling me some shit that just seemed crazy, I would just be like, no. I don't know. I don't think I've received any like bad advice, but I think that I really respect like YouTube creators and Instagram and TikTok creators too, who are like, that's what they do, is they make videos and it's like
Definitely.
a thing. But that is different than making music in a sense. And the people who can do both, like, more power
Great.
to you. Good for
Yeah.
you. I can't do both all the time, and
I can't.
I fucks with my head.
Do you remember what really pushed you to pursue music in the first place? Like just music in general. I'm not even talking as an artist, just in general.
I guess I was around 11 or 12, and I was already a good writer, and I would just write for fun. And I would, I was like excelling in English and everything. I just sort of, I guess that transferred into writing more like short little poems. And my dad bought me a keyboard, and my dad is musical, but he like, and he would try to teach me things that I would just be like, ugh, it's like your parents trying to teach you something.
Yeah, exactly. And you're just like, you don't know what I want to do.
You're like, I don't care.
You don't get it.
Right. When ultimately they do. But he bought me a keyboard, and then it kind of just started evolving from there. I just started like messing with it and writing little things, and then it turned into taking voice lessons, and then it turned into taking guitar, and then I just from there, once I started having like the tools to create music, then it was just sort of, you couldn't stop me. That was like the only thing I did, other than I played some sports, but I mean, I eventually like quit. I was a softball player, and I eventually quit because I didn't have time, because I was doing so many music lessons and things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it really was just my love of writing, and that's what it comes down to. It's like it's a beautiful feeling to just like write something and it just flows out of you.
Yeah.
But it's also a beautiful feeling to like push through the writer's block, and to just keep going with it. And
Definitely.
So I think that was it. Writing was like the gateway to it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
How did you start in the music industry? Or just, entertainment in general?
Yeah, I went to college in Nashville. So
Okay.
when I decided that I was going to Nashville, I was like, okay, I'm pursuing music as my career. And
Got it.
I had at that point, I was 18, but I had written tons of songs, and I was, performing around my little Florida town.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I was also in church too. I was like deeply involved in my church. And I was, a worship leader. So I was constantly playing music and performing. And when I moved to Nashville, it was sort of just like, okay, I'm doing this. And I went to school and went to Belmont University, and it's a big music school, but it's also a Christian school. But it is known for its music and music industry programs. And I got accepted into the songwriting program. And then basically it was just sort of like I started meeting people through my college, and I was very like confident. I was just
Got you.
hi, I'm
you.
Caroline. It was embarrassing as now, like fresh, in Nashville.
Yeah.
But I just started meeting people, and especially through my college, and also just like friends of mine were so talented, and we would just sort of like feed off of each other, and we started playing shows, and so it kind of stemmed from, you have to like put yourself out there a little bit. And I started just meeting up with, musicians that I admired at my school, and just reaching out to people and being like, hi, can we get coffee?
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I do it the same way now, because that's like kind of embarrassing to look back on, but
I get, yeah.
I mean?
We've all have we all have our regrets.
But it also was innocent,
it makes us who we are.
Yeah, it was innocent because I just wanted a way in,
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, and then I guess that was kind of how I like got sort of in, and I don't know. The music industry is rough. It's not for the faint of heart.
It's really not. Well, you mentioned when you first started out, you were just collaborating with other musicians that you were inspired by. Who's some people that inspire you now, or would you want to collaborate with?
Well, the people in my life, first and foremost, my girlfriend, Liv Slingerland. We live together, so she's my easiest collaborator, but also she's like the most talented person I've ever met. She can play and do anything, and she's just taught me so much about music. So we collaborate a lot. Also, I love collaborating with Matt Bishop, who I did a lot of songs with on Heaven's Just a Flight. And one of my really good friends from college, her name's Juliana Zachariou. Someone I'm avoiding. Maybe it's 'cause of my parents splitting while I was young. We don't really collaborate as much, as we did in college, but she's like the first person that, I'll send music to and be like,
that was going to be my next question.
Yeah. Like she's my confidant in the sense of like, I send her ideas. I'm like, is this stupid? Like, what do you think? Or, if I get a new music opportunity, like, what do you think? We both bounce ideas off of each other.
Yeah.
She's incredible. She's putting out her album. You need to go listen to her. Her name is Juliana Zachariou.
Great. We'll write it down.
She's incredible. But there's a lot of people I'd love to collaborate with, but at the same time, I'm definitely just like in a place of like exploration with my music, because it's my second album and I've never made a second album before. And I made my first album before. Yep. And I'm
on my
process.
Second album as well. So.
Oh, you are?
We're in a very familiar space right now.
Yeah, totally. It's weird once you put out your first album because you're like, oh, what now?
Literally, what do I do now?
Right. Just let it flow. Just let it happen. Don't try to force it, I think. But
how was it hearing your song Fall in Love in the Scream film?
Oh, it was cool. It was very cool. I tried to get my mom.
How did that whole thing come about?
Oh, okay. Well, I wrote Fall in Love with this songwriter and producer duo called The Gifted, and they've collaborated with a lot of people. They're just incredible. So they knew the director of the movie, sent the song over. Matt, the director of the movie, loved it, put it in the film, and from what I heard, it was a challenge getting it in the film because I guess, like big movie studios, like they have partnerships with certain labels and certain artists and it's, so I think that they had to kind of like work it in there.
Definitely.
But yeah, it was cool. It was surreal. I'm scared of scary movies. So.
Oh, you're not a scary movie fan?
No.
Oh man.
Not really.
What's your favorite kind of movies?
I like everything else. I love a good documentary. I just don't love. I saw Midsommar. I loved that because that wasn't as like.
That's more like a thriller.
It wasn't like a slasher horror film.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I thought that they did a great job with the movie in general, and the fact that they put my song in there was just very generous.
It's crazy.
It was a huge deal. It was a huge deal, and it's nice to have like things that like members of your family can recognize is a big deal because you do definitely. So many things.
Massive Escape, was that done on a Super 8 or
it was done
who
on
was behind that?
It was all me. I did everything. I filmed it and edited it.
So you're a one-stop shop. Producer, writer.
I wish
video.
I wasn't. It would be great to have some money to work with sometimes.
It would be great to have a whole team, but when you can do it all yourself,
right.
Once you reach that level where bigger budgets can come involved and stuff like that, you can kind of just pocket all that. since you know how to
Just
do
do
so much
myself.
yourself. Just pay yourself to do it. That's a great
Yeah,
skill to
that's a
have.
that's a good
As an
point.
artist, that's a great skill to have because they look so good. I really thought that they were done like with at least a videographer, at the
Oh
least. I
wow.
thought they were
Well,
done
just
with,
Massive Escape I did on my own. Okay, so like just so that's it was just
Okay,
Massive
okay.
Escape.
But Massive Escape is still really good as well, though.
Thank you. All the others, one of them I worked Fall in Love, I worked with someone and then Kissing Someone Else and Breaking Apart, those I worked with a good friend of mine, Joe DeSantis. And I mean he's incredible, but thing is he is a one-stop shop. He filmed and edited and lit and produced it and did the
Shout
whole
out
thing.
him.
Dude, he's the actual one-stop shop. Yeah, so, but thank you for saying that. It's nice.
No, definitely. Definitely. You got to give credit where it's due. Also, I had another. Oh, I think you mentioned Cockatoo Twins already is one of your influences. They're
Yeah.
so great.
I know.
They're
And
so good. I feel like.
they don't even need words. They make up their own words.
Yeah. Sugar Hiccup. That's like my favorite song by them.
I love that.
I love that song. I have no clue what it means.
Right.
I love it.
You don't.
Though.
It's just a good feeling. Sometimes
it's
that's
just-
all it means. That's all it is.
But that's also a lot of that kind of drive and that music, which you already talked about. But a lot of that I really feel and hear in your music, which is very similar. And I think
Thank
that's like
you.
a great thing to have because especially those types of 80s bands, it's like if you don't do it a certain way, you're either going to be way too on the nose or it's just going to be like it doesn't sound like it at all. And it's a very hard thing to do, so you should be proud of it, honestly.
Aw, thank you. Oh my god. That's so nice.
It's very good. Like I was literally telling my team, I said, this is like really good. I think that this is
Thank
good.
you. That's so nice. Thank you.
Last quick question. I hear you're a Miley Cyrus fan.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. Tell me more about that.
What do you mean? What else there to tell?
I don't know. Just like how did you get into her? Was it because of Disney? Was it because of her music? Is it just I'm not saying it's a negative.
I would just want to know where your source is. What is this? What is your intention behind this question?
There is no specific intention. I just think that most people have a different. You know how there's certain artists or certain people that people like, but their reason for liking them is always different. So I just wanted to know, like, what you know what I mean? Like,
she is a badass. Doesn't give a fuck. Makes whatever she wants. Has been a charitable, kind human being throughout all the that she's been through.
Definitely.
And that's the whole point. You know, she's just doesn't care, does what she wants. I don't know. And she's so talented, her voice, everything. There's not like a specific entry point, but
yeah.
She's amazing, and I've been lucky to meet her a couple times and spend some time, and she's just as lovely and kind and incredible as you would expect.
So I'm guessing she's had a big impact on you as an artist or as a person.
I think, especially I grew up watching Disney and everything too, but
yeah, definitely.
I don't think that I felt that way until
recently,
especially when I met her.
Especially just how she's rebranded and stuff.
Her consistency and just like making stuff that she likes and that's just so admirable. And girl,
that's the most important thing as an artist.
Yeah,
it's just making stuff you like and just keeping it going. Honestly,
and that's literally her. She's goals. She's great.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for up and coming artists?
Keep going. Just keep going. Stop looking left and right. Be like, oh, she's doing this, he's doing this, I'm not doing this. Nah. Just keep going.
Just do it.
Just stop comparing yourself to everybody else
Yep.
and what they're doing, and just keep going
Yep.
and try to hold your together.
Can see you now, you're all dressed up, got your best shoes